Welcome to BizTech's Malaysia Tech Ecosystem Show. Today, we feature the Malaysian Business Angels Network, popularly known as MBAN, the official trade association and governing body for angel investors and angel clubs in Malaysia. Now, this is part of our partnership with the MBAN Summit 2024, which takes place on the 25th of September at the Asian School of Business in Kuala Lumpur. Now, here to tell us more about MBAN, the summit, and also the current state of the Malaysian tech angel investing ecosystem, we have Peter Wee, President of MBAN. Peter, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be on. Thanks, Brian.
Now, Peter, for a start, it's great to have you on the show. Tell us a little bit about MBAN and what you do.
MBAN is the short form for the Malaysian Business Angel Network. We are the official trade association for angel investors and angel clubs in Malaysia. We were formed back in 2014. That gives us the 10 years of since being set up. Our role is very much the development in developing the early stage startup ecosystem in Malaysia. So as the name suggests, we are an angel network, which is a very early stage of investments. So our job, because we are an association, we don't invest, but our role primarily is to do awareness and education programs to create a more robust funding environment for investors. So with our association, we do a lot of awareness, but also ecosystem building. That means we interact a lot with the other ecosystem partners like the government agencies, the regulators, to make angel investments more vibrant and robust. So you were just asking me earlier on before the show about some statistics. Let me give you a couple of statistics. Is that we at MBAN have gone through our program 500 startups who have gone through our pitching event, right? So some of the newer guys are coming up, but the older guys have already come through our system, people like La Pasa and so forth. Yeah. So our job is very much awareness and education to promote more angel investment, because that is the key part, the germination of ideas. So someone got to start them there. So that's our job.
Now, obviously, in the past, as we've spoken to in last year's show with the previous president, Alan, really the government has played quite an important role in terms of encouraging angel investment, the angel investment scheme, and so forth. What does Malaysia look like in 2024 in terms of the ecosystem? Give us a sense of how perhaps the ecosystem has evolved over the last 12 months since the last summit. Also, the perceptions around Malaysia has changed a lot compared to our regional peers.
Okay, the complexion of the ecosystem has changed quite a lot. Very much thank you to the government of Malaysia, who has launched the KL20, and we had the super program, which was launched back in 2021. What has changed is that the focus of where we are in terms of the industry is very, very obvious. As you know, AI, semiconductors, these are the new sectors which has come up. So since the last 12 months, there's a lot more programs in terms of funding, which is given by the government. The GLCs, the government-linked companies in Malaysia, are also getting into the system. Yeah, I myself have been in quite a few of the GLC programs, and they are really accelerating the development of startups in Malaysia. So we have got funding has increased, the number of players has come in, not only angels, but I would call them corporate angels, they are also coming into the system. And the types of startups coming up is very much things like the semiconductors, the AI, agri-tech, fintech, and of course, we are very strong in Islamic financing. Not only that, we see the ecosystem expanding to places like Sabah and Sarawak, and of course Penang, and Johor is already starting to come up. So the spread of startups and investments is spreading past Kuala Lumpur.
And that's a very key thing, isn't it? Because again, traditionally, the startup ecosystem has been very Kuala Lumpur based. Now, what is quite interesting, and this is obviously a very key thing around compared to last year, when we've spoken to MBAN in 2020, way back in 2020, in fact, you were one of the first guests on BizTech Asia. And you can see the evolution of how corporations have been more and more involved in the startup ecosystem. And now you say in 2024, you have more GLCs also being involved. Could you give us some examples of companies that have now taken the initiative and have built various programs? And maybe you could share some of those programs.
When we first spoke, we say angel investors, our pocket is only that deep, right? And
yes.
After a while, because funding is the lifeblood of any startup. And at that time, MBAN was trying to get corporates in. We talked about innovation, if you remember, the corporates need to work with startups to get new ideas. So that has ballooned. Okay, if you look at our membership now, we have close to 360 individual members, angel members. But the corporates one, since even last year, we had maybe about 10. Now we have 30 over corporates as our members, and they come through our system through awareness and education, so to speak. And because they themselves, especially the GLCs and also the corporates like Petronas, I work quite closely with them. They have lots and lots of programs to nurture startups and also entrepreneurship within their ecosystem, within their ranks of employees. And not only that, we have got people like Khazanah starting quite a lot of work around their own stable of companies. So you can see the proliferation of programs coming up, and companies, especially the GLCs, are the ones starting up. But not to forget the corporate innovation offices and also the family offices. They have got a lot of money and they are starting to look at the next horizon. It's no longer just plantations, but what else after plantation. So what I'm trying to say is that the government-linked companies are really spearheading the corporate innovation, so to speak, followed by family offices and the other companies. But you can see the complexions really changed since we last spoke.
Now, one of the things that's also, and finally, it seems that now we've got a bigger pool of money in Malaysia at the seed level and perhaps at the Series A level, because Malaysia has always had that problem. The startup ecosystem, while the government, it has been very government-led in terms of a lot of the early stage investments. Initiatives like Cradle spawned a lot of startups. But one of the things that has actually had a byproduct compared to Singaporean and Indonesian startups, you hear this a lot, that Malaysian startups, because they have less money, tend to be more resilient. They tend to have better business models because they never had money to begin with. And now there's a very big shift in perception about Malaysia, not only globally, but also among the startup community or startup investors and VCs and stuff, because they realize, hey, there's really good companies in Malaysia. Walk us through some of the changes that have happened. And obviously, this is going to impact the angel investing community moving forward.
Sorry, I was smiling when you're mentioning it because, when you have got less, you are forced to be very innovative and resilient, right? And this is really coming true. I mean, easily we have got 2 or 3 thousand startups, right? And you can see like, wow, these guys are really, bootstrapping and coming out with new ideas, pivoting. That has made our startups really, really resilient and to be envied. If you ask me, I'm in Singapore now, so I mean, can't say much, but I was with some of the corporates here, and they are complaining that they don't have enough quality startups, and of course, the government here, they are looking at attracting more startups to set up shop in Singapore. And of course, they look across the causeway, largely because it's our talent pool, our resilience, and also the ideas we are coming up through our ecosystem in Malaysia. So this is, as I agree with you, we have got a lot to be happy and to be proud of. Yeah, money is coming in, but we are in ringgit.
Yes, and so one of the big advantages of investing in Malaysia, and you hit the nail on the head, it's the not only labor market arbitrage, but it's the cost arbitrage. So compared to from a labor market arbitrage wise, there is a maybe at least 1 in 3 advantage. So your $1 in Singapore gets you $3.3. I mean, salaries are comparable dollar for dollar. But what's the bigger arbitrage then is the arbitrage around the other aspects, rental and other costs. Those costs can be as little as 10% of Singapore and Malaysia. So that really starts to give then your dollars then a bigger runway when you invest in a startup in Malaysia.
That's right. Agree. Totally agree with you.
Now, which then brings us to really the summit that you organize annually, the MBAN Summit 2024. You had a very successful summit last year. I remember moderating a fireside chat with Khazanah at that time, and they've brought in the Dana Impact Fund with 6 billion. Walk us through the value of MBAN this year, how it helps the ecosystem, and what are some of the key highlights this year?
Yeah, I think like any summit, and this year I'm happy to update is that it's even bigger now than last year. We have close to nearly 600 sign-ups for this 25th. So it's going to be packed. Now, an event like this is a networking event. And there we see the richness of the participants, right? Of course, you've got one end, the angel investors and the corporate angels are coming in. So there's quite a big sign up over there. And of course, the other spectrum is the startups. And in the middle are the ecosystem partners. So with 500-600 people in the room, you get great networking sessions. And then when we look at how we're going to populate the itinerary, so to speak, it is very much very current. I feel it's very current and talks about funding for the future, right? Because there's a lot of things happening, like you rightly said earlier on. We're going to have the AI's topics, and also what's the next trend coming. Good news is that they say that the future is already here. It's just haven't arrived. I'm hoping that with this, I'm confident that with this event, yeah, actually the future is here. To better come. This is a bit of advertisement. Better come because we have got the likes of from the startups. We have got Marcus Tan from Carousel, the co-founder. How did he start? Yeah, so we talk about the resilience. How did Carousel start from zero to become a hero, right? And of course, the other side is that the angels, people like us, me, hopefully you, I think you, how do we get 20x returns? Yeah, some of us are very curious. I am very excited about that particular segment. And we have got the new things like the secondary market for trading for startup shares. So that is quite an interesting thing, which is Kashminder Singh is going to speak about it.
And that's something
on the
that I think
second.
even Peter, and if I may just interrupt you a little bit, that secondary share, it is worth, if you're an ECF investor before and you were wondering how you could have liquidity for some of your past investments, you should come for the MBAN Summit, because that's going to give you some insights into how you can perhaps cash out on some of your investments, which perhaps the opportunity to cash out didn't exist until very recently.
Yeah, one of the curse for holding shares in a startup or even a private company, they are a private company, is that where is the liquidity? So by having a secondary market, wow, that opens up a new whole avenue for this. So yeah, I'm like very, very excited about this development. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And please, if you have not signed up, yeah, those who are listening to this podcast or this seminar. Yeah.
Now, on that note, Peter, thank you very much for taking your time to come on the show.
Thanks, Brian, for always accommodating us, and it's always good to chat with you. And I'll see you at the summit.
Yes, and I'll see you at the summit. I'm Brian Fernandez, and we've been speaking to Peter Wee, president of MBAN. Now, and this has been BizTech's Malaysian Tech Ecosystem Show. This conversation is part of our partnership with MBAN Summit 2024, which takes place on the 25th of September at the Asian School of Business in Kuala Lumpur. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more from BizTech Asia.